So I'd like to welcome everyone officially to WSI's Digital Power Hour series. Today's webinar is entitled Increase Your Brand Promotion, 3 Strategies to Make Your Customers Take Notice. My name is Cheryl Baldwin, and I'm the Director of Marketing Communication at WSI's corporate head office, and I'll be your host today. Just a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Everyone has been muted, so if you have any questions, please type them into the question box. Whether they come up as they go or at the end, just whenever they hit your mind, be sure to type those in. We will have a question and answer period at the end of the webinar. In case you miss anything during the webinar or want to revisit what is discussed, don't worry, this webinar is being recorded, and the WSI consultant or staff member that referred you to this webinar will email you the recording. Also, for those that do a lot of social media out there, feel free to tweet about the webinar as it's happening. Be sure to use our official hashtag WSI Power Hour when doing so, and I'll put that into the chat box afterwards so you have it. Now, in case you aren't familiar with who we are, WSI boasts the largest network of digital marketing consultants around the world. We have offices in more than 80 countries internationally and provide digital marketing solutions like website design and development, SEO, social media, email marketing, mobile marketing, and of course, paid search advertising. We are capable of being a company's one-stop shop for their entire digital marketing strategy. If you would like more details on any of the services we provide, the consultant who referred you to this webinar would be happy to connect with you. If you were referred to this webinar through one of our head office channels, then simply get in touch with us after the webinar, and we'd be happy to connect you to a WSI consultant in your region. Okay, now on to our speaker for today. Joining me to present and talk about the latest ways in which digital marketing can help you increase your brand promotion activities is Dennis Masella. Now, Dennis has been a WSI digital marketing consultant for over the last 10 years and operates his business from New Hampshire, USA. Before joining WSI, he had a very successful 20-year career in the corporate world, working for startups to Fortune 1000 companies, and was even the VP of Marketing for Gartner. Dennis has experience speaking on a wide range of digital marketing topics, and today will help answer those questions you have around attracting and holding the attention of your customers online. Now, I know Dennis has some great information to share with you today, so without further ado, I'd like to pass it over to Dennis.
Okay, well, thanks for being here today. I'd like to start by saying that an important part of establishing brand visibility is essential in today's market. So in today's webinar, we're going to cover 3 outstanding strategies for increasing your brand visibility: Google AdWords extensions, AdWords for video, and finally remarketing. But given the huge shift that Google made last week concerning mobile search, we would be remiss if we didn't discuss the ramifications and solutions to that. We're going to go pretty broad stroke on these topics today, but your WSI digital marketing consultant can fill in the details when needed. All right, so first, Google AdWords extensions. Google AdWords search advertising is just a great medium for bringing attention to your website and brand. If you are already an AdWords search advertiser, you know its limitations. 25 characters for the headline, 35 characters for each line of text, and your URL pointing to a single landing page. To make this successful, you have to be very disciplined and focused. So I'm going to go over a quick rundown on how to create an effective text ads in that case, as you see in the example up here. First, use a keyword in the title or the body of the ad. This serves 2 purposes. First, the word is bolded, helping to draw the visitor's eye to your ad. More of a behind-the-scenes kind of benefit is how Google determines the quality score of your ad. It's made up of various factors. First of all, the relevancy of the search keyword to the content of the ad, and then to the relevancy of both the keyword to the ad to the landing page that you set up to land on. Okay. And all of that is all combined together along with the click-through rate, how many times people are clicking on your ad in terms of the amount of impressions, the amount of times your ad shows up. That all goes into calculating your quality score. Now this in turn determines your position on the search page, sometimes putting you ahead of your competitors even if they bid more for the keyword but fail on the other criteria. Second, you need to get across, why me? What differentiates you from your competitor? Are you the winner of a Best of award? You have thousands in stock? You have free shipping? Then finally, make sure you leave room for a call to action. Call now. Learn more. Don't miss this opportunity. Only a short time left. Now, all of this needs to be expressed in less than 100 characters. Crafting these succinct ads is more of an art than a science. But what if you could add extra content that can really tell the visitor much more about your company? Slowly over time, Google has been adding a feature to AdWords called extensions. Just as the name implies, extensions extend the length and quality of your ad. Now there are what are called manual extensions that Google has added. First of all, location. Simple. It's your physical address. Your location extensions show your business address, your phone number when the call extension is activated, and a map marker with your ad text. On mobile, they include a link with directions to your business. Site links, and this is an important one, I think, links to all other pages on your website, including a name and description of that page. Call is your phone number, or an assigned Google number for tracking, which you could use. If your business has a business app, you can actually have a link to your business app. Review is a snippet of verified third-party review. You get to choose which review, which piece you want to put in there. And it's not really Google Plus reviews, it's other third-party reviewers. Very powerful one. And then a call out. Now this is an additional call to action. And I believe call to actions is so important. Make sure you use this one. Here's an example. Doing a search for lawyer NH, a very competitive term up here in New Hampshire. Here are two of the ads that came up. The one at the top takes advantage of a number of the extensions, as you can see, to expand their ad considerably compared to another ad appearing in the same search results. So they've used call-out extension, call extension, site extensions, locations extensions. You can see how expanded that ad is. Now, this extended ad creates a sense of importance, enhancing the brand of this particular law office. All right, so for those of you who are already using AdWords, you'll find extensions on the navigation tabs of your campaign page. Click on that, and you can click on the drop-down of all the available extensions. Just choose one. Then by clicking the red extension bar with the plus sign, you'll be able to add your extension. In this case, we chose site links. Google determines how many they will show and when they show them, but put in a minimum of 4, each linking to a different page on your site. Notice that I was not only able to name them, but to put a small description about each. Now, when the site links appear along with your ad, you've more than doubled the size of your ad, dominating the space, told the visitor far more about your website and company, and you left a much stronger impression. So important for branding. The extensions can be done on a campaign level or an ad group level. So perhaps you would use location with your address on a campaign level. They're always going to be in the same place. But site links may be able to show a much deeper offering on your website for a particular ad group. Again, showing the visitor your knowledge and authority on the subject and on the search term. This will entice them to visit your site. Since extensions right now are an underutilized feature of AdWords, they provide an excellent way to stand out from your competition and enhance your brand. They improve ad visibility and increase the opportunity for click-through to your site. Now, just so you understand, clicks on ad extensions cost the same as standard clicks. It doesn't cost any more, but you will get charged if they click on one of those links or one of those extensions. Now, in addition to manual extensions that you or your internet consultant will need to add yourself, Google also provides automatic extensions. No action is really needed on your part for these to appear. Google determines when to show them. There are a number of these. So very quickly, consumer ratings show off what consumers appreciate with high-quality survey data. We've got examples up there that you can look at to see how this works. Now, this becomes available if you sign up for Google surveys, very inexpensive survey conducting that Google does on your behalf of your business. Now, they will only actually show it if it's determined that you would benefit your business by having them shown. But even then, if you don't want them, you can opt out of them. Previous visits actually shows people if they've clicked through to your website before from Google search results. These only work when the searcher is logged into Google. Social extensions show how many Google Plus followers you have. Now, this is another good reason to ask followers, to ask for followers on Google Plus. You should always make regular posts on Google Plus. I know it's not very well used, but it's a very powerful social media place. And additionally to that, make sure you're getting reviews on Google Plus, because that helps everything that you do, search as well as pay-per-click. Now, to have these show up, obviously, your business needs a Google Plus page, and you can create one using Google My Business. Your Google Plus page has to have a verified URL, and the domain of your Google Plus page must match the domain of your ad's landing page. But this means you can link to different pages as long as they are all part of the same website. Dynamic structured snippets show additional landing page details. Google determines what to show. Seller ratings show your online business ratings with your ad. These reviews are garnered from review sites throughout Google and the seller ratings websites. Google then combines them into a 5-star rating system. You've seen that on ads, I'm sure. Now, you can sign up to be part of the Google Trusted Store system by going to google.com/trusted stores, all one word, /for business. That's where you'll be able to start gathering reviews and qualifying for the seller ratings in AdWords. All right. So now we come to AdWords for video. Viewership on YouTube continues to climb, and here are some of the stats. Right now, YouTube has 1 billion users per month, and that's climbing. 6 billion hours of video are watched every month. It's the second largest search engine in the world, and guess who's first? 300 hours of video are uploaded every minute, and half of YouTube viewers are on mobile devices. Now, there are 2 AdWords for video formats, both called TrueView, in-stream and display. You can access the video portion of AdWords at adwords.google.com/video. Okay, video is such an important part of our lives today. We've all been trained to view video ads as brand builders. So TrueView in-stream. They play at the beginning or the middle of an existing relevant video. You only pay if the viewer watches 30 seconds or the whole ad if it's shorter. The viewer has the option to skip the ad after 5 seconds. Now, with 6 billion hours of YouTube videos being watched a month, there is a wide variety of websites that embed and display YouTube videos on their sites as well. Your video ad will display on all of those sites that are part of the Google Display Network. Now, to be able to tell your story in a video allows you really to show your expertise to the viewer. Because it is their choice to skip or view, you are reaching the right audience for your product or service when somebody decides to watch all the way through and click through to your site. Now, you can reach your customers by topic, keyword, or by demographic, further improving your reach to your audience. Now, for in-stream ads, how do we create a compelling ad? Well, first of all, that 5 seconds is so important. You've got to get your main message across to the viewer in those 5 seconds that can be most impactful for your brand. Feature engaging content with a real story so they continue to watch. Encourage people to learn or see more through your video instead of heavily pitching the sale of a product or service. Again, add a strong call to action. Subscribe, watch another video, comment, call, visit. Now, along with AdWords analytics, you also get to use the YouTube analytics to see which parts of your videos are keeping your viewers most engaged. Something that's very important, 30 to 45 seconds for a video ad is ideal. Any longer than that, you're going to start losing your audience. Excuse me. And all audio always needs to be clear. Have a good microphone when you're creating your videos. All right, next up, TrueView display ads. Now, this is an alternative to the in-stream video ads, and it replaces some of the legacy formats you might be familiar with. YouTube advertising, including promoted video overlays, promoted video suggestions, and related videos, and Google click-to-pay ads. These ads display next to the YouTube videos as part of the search results or within other content across the Google Display Network. It'll actually display right next to the videos as somebody's watching the videos. The video ad will only start when either the ad itself is clicked or once it's clicked it opens to a video page. And just like most of other Google properties, this will be the only time you pay for the ad, when somebody actually clicks through. Well, how do you create a compelling display ad? Advertising before the advent of the Internet was simply based on impressions. It was said that to impress a brand on a person, you needed to see the ad 7 times. In the case of video ads, even if someone does not click on the in-display ad, it remains on the search page. That's an impression. Now, if the viewer goes to full screen, once they escape out of full screen, your ad is still there. So there, really, you're actually getting 2 impressions out of 1. Isn't that great? All right. So, very important, the thumbnail image of your ad is exceedingly important. You want to make it eye-catching, creative, and increase the curiosity to improve the chances of it being clicked on. Keep it simple, provide a clear message without being overly commercial, and deliver your key message in those first important 10 seconds. Here's an example of 2 different ads. One is a good example, one is a bad example. I think you can see the differences in these ads. The good example creates quite a bit of curiosity, whereas the second tells you immediately that this is a product for sale and you're going to be pitched to. By the way, you can upload your own video or you can use Google Tools to help you create a video ad in minutes. And as always, return on investment and analytics is all an aspect of Google AdWords. With video, you get the benefit of the additional YouTube analytics. Make sure you use them. Now, remarketing. Remarketing is an aspect of Google AdWords that is starting to be used more now than ever, but still a lot of people don't know about it. This is how you can stay top of mind throughout the day, and staying top of mind in marketing is essential. Remarketing is truly remarkable. Let me just go back there for a second. The problem with all advertising is its shelf life. From a branding perspective, ads need repetition to make a lasting impression. TV ads, if they're watched at all thanks to DVRs today, come and go quickly, which is why they need to be repeated so often. And they have to be repeated on multiple channels because obviously we surf all channels all the time. So you're constantly seeing the same TV ad on multiple channels to increase the impressions. Newspaper ads suffer from the content they're paired with. Often it's not relevant to the reader. The page gets turned and the ad is no longer visible. That's why, again, in print advertising, repetition is the only answer. You've got to keep advertising your products or services over and over again, hoping that the person who's reading that newspaper actually sees it. Now, remarketing takes the pain out of this repetition while still delivering the ad to an interested party. Remarketing lets you show ads to people who have already visited your site or mobile app as they visit other sites that could participate in the Google Display Network. There is no better way to stay top of mind and continue to deliver impressions to people who have, through their previous search actions, expressed an interest in your website. So, with remarketing, you can reach people when they're most likely to buy, right? You can customize your remarketing lists to achieve specific advertising goals. For example, you can create lists to upsell or cross-sell products. You might want to display new ads across the display network 90 days after a visitor came to your site. You might also want to be able to show specific products or services to visitors. There are already a number of Google templates for creating remarketing lists that simplify this entire process for you. So you don't have to be out there on your own trying to create this. Now, just as with other Google products, Google helps you create the ads themselves. You can produce multiple text, image, or even video ads for free in the Google Ad Gallery. Now, visibility over where your ads appear. You'll actually be able to know where your ads are appearing and how your campaign is performing and what price you're paying for those clicks. Now, the types of remarketing ads that are out there. There's standard remarketing ads. These show ads to your past visitors as they simply browse the display network websites and use display networking apps. Dynamic remarketing shows dynamic ads to past visitors with products and services they viewed on your website as they browse through the display network websites. You'll need to tie this in with a product or service feed to Google. Remarketing for mobile apps. These show ads to people who have used your mobile app or your mobile website as they use other mobile apps or browse other mobile websites. Remarketing lists for search ads. You can show your ads to past visitors as they do follow-up searches for what they need on Google after leaving your website. Video remarketing shows ads to people who have interacted with your videos on YouTube, on the YouTube channel, or your YouTube channel itself, as they use YouTube and browse through the display network videos, websites, and apps. Within AdWords for Video that we've previously discussed, you can generate video remarketing lists that include viewers who have done one of the following actions: either interacted with or viewed your YouTube videos, subscribed to or unsubscribed from your channel, viewed your TrueView in-stream ads, as we've talked about, or simply visited your channel. Now, remarketing is probably one of the most important advances in Google advertising of all. We all get distracted in our day. You may have searched for something early in the day and found a great website that will provide just what you need, and then the phone rings, an important email comes in, a friend texts, time slips by, and you close your browser. Later in the day, you go read some news on your favorite news website, and there is a display ad for just what you were looking for. Recently, my wife and I were looking for ceiling fans, and here's the result. Now, wherever I go, I see fans. Okay, first things first. It often takes time for people to make up their minds when deciding to buy products or services. First, they look for information, then they narrow their choices, and finally they choose a supplier. I think we all tend to do these three things as we work our way through deciding on purchases. If your website comes up during the information phase, there's no guarantee that the visitor will find you again in the purchasing phase. However, remarketing increases this likelihood that they will see that ad on another website and say, oh yeah, that's right, they had some really good information. Let me go there now to see what their choices are. And finally, choose you as the supplier of their products or services. And Google provides tools to help you build these ads, as I've said. So you can get going on this very quickly. And again, as with all Google advertising properties, you have enormous insight as to how people are interacting with your ad, how they're performing, and where the ads are appearing. The main thing you want to do to get started with remarketing is to add the remarketing tag. It's a small bit of code that you get from remarketing, and you need to add it to your website wherever you want to start accumulating visitors. You need to accumulate a certain number of visitor hits with this code in place before your remarketing ad actually appears. So it's something you want to get started with right away. You then begin by creating remarketing lists that can deliver specific information to those lists. For instance, if someone placed something in a shopping cart but then abandoned the product in the cart, you can now actually start displaying an ad geared to that product. Now, if you don't have an AdWords campaign running, what are you waiting for? There really is no better advertising opportunity to build brand and increase traffic to your website. So I encourage you to contact your WSI Internet consultant for help in any of these options and to give you more details on them. Okay, mobile getting. Making sure that your site is mobile ready. Here's what Google says. Starting April 21st, already passed, we will be expanding our use of mobile friendliness as a ranking signal. This change will affect mobile searches in all languages, worldwide, and will have a significant impact on our search results. Consequently, users will find it easier to get relevant, high-quality search results that are optimized for their devices. What do? Well, first of all, Google has created a mobile-friendly test site that you can actually go in and determine whether or not your site is ready for the update. Your WSI consultant can run this report for you and to see if you're ready to go. Here's what the result will be. If your website is mobile ready, you're okay, you're 100%. You have nothing else left to do. But if not, you don't want to see this message, or if you do, you certainly want to make sure you get your site mobile friendly. And how do you do that? Well, first of all, you want to optimize your website for the phone. That means no pinching, no squeezing, no stretching of the image. You don't want to see any horizontal scroll bars. The content of the site should fit the size of the screen. Very important. It's got to be thumb optimized. This is what we all use on our phones to click through to things. So make sure that your menu structure is thumb optimized. All links should be easily clickable by thumb. And work on the speed of your download. Make sure that your images are based on percentages rather than fixed size for the web, so they load very quickly. Speed is a very big issue in desktop search as well as it is in mobile search, but even more so now in mobile search. All right. And right now, I'm through. Cheryl, it's up to you.
Hey, great. Thank you, Dennis. So maybe just to get us kind of started, one of the first, and maybe just to, because you were just talking about remarketing quite recently, obviously remarketing, and maybe just explain how remarketing works by dropping, how they gather the visitors, so that it's a cookie action, and generally how long a visitor is cookied for, so they are considered as part of your visitor pool.
Right, I should more. Once you put this code on your website, what it does is it deposits a cookie on the computer of the person who's visiting your website. All advertisers do this. I'm sure you're probably. It's a way for companies to understand your actions on a website. So Google gives us this code, and as somebody hits your website, they start gathering the lists. They start putting together these lists I spoke about. And now the interesting thing about this is that these cookies can last for up to 180 days, or 6 months. But you could also set the time for cookies. So you could have the cookie disappear after 30 days, for instance, if you're running an advertising promotion where a coupon is only good for 30 days. Or you can actually start it 30 days after somebody came to your website, so that it's pinging them a little bit later based on your marketing strategies. Let me know if that explains it.
And yeah, no, that's great. You did mention that there's a threshold, a number of visitors you need to have in order for these to get started. What's the general number, or one to keep in mind for people?
Yeah, the general threshold is 100 visitors.
Is that, and that's a monthly basis, I'm assuming?
Well, once you've got 100 visitors on your remarketing list, it remains. You continue to be able to remarket.
Great. So it makes sense, like you said, just to get the code and start gathering those in prep for you to start your campaign. Absolutely,
and you don't have to start the campaign until you want to start the campaign, so why not get that going to begin with? So you're ready to go in a moment's notice.
Great. And I mean, just keeping on the remarketing front, since we're talking about it, generally what kind of display networks are those ads put up on, and do you have any control over where your ads are being placed?
Right. Google has worked with thousands and thousands of websites to become part of the Google display network. In fact, it's sometimes said that 90% of all the websites out there are participating in this. Of course, you don't want your ad to appear on sites you don't want it to appear on. So Google will actually show you a list. You'll be able to print out a report of all the websites your remarketing ads are showing. As you go through that list, if you see some that are not appropriate, you don't want them there, then you can actually exclude them. There's what's called an exclusion tool. You start excluding these websites. From that point on, they will not show on those websites. Great.
And just generally speaking, how often should a company be looking at refreshing their remarketing campaigns as they're running them?
Well, as with all advertising, right, very much of it depends on your marketing goals and what your plans are around your marketing, whether you're running promotions or not, whether you've got a seasonality to your business and that sort of thing. But one thing, as with all advertising, you don't want your ads to become boring and insignificant anymore. So you want to make sure that you're going in on a 30-day basis, looking at your ads, seeing which ones are producing results for you, and start tweaking them and changing them. It's always good in advertising to do A/B marketing, market testing anyway, testing one ad against another, see which ones perform the best for you. Once you find out that one ad is performing better than the A ad is performing better than the B ad, get rid of the B ad and tweak the A ad and see if you can increase the performance from that.
Great. I have a question here around, is it possible to start a remarketing campaign while your AdWords campaign is using automatic bids? And maybe just talk about how the remarketing works alongside your pay-per-click campaign.
Well, you actually set up a separate, the best way, in my opinion, to work with remarketing is actually to set up a separate remarketing campaign. It works in conjunction with the rest of your campaign. It'll be essentially an ad group within your campaign. It should be based on a separate setting, the display network setting of the pay-per-click campaign. So your pay-per-click automatic bidding will not affect your remarketing ads at all. And in fact, something I didn't mention, typically remarketing clicks are less expensive than pay-per-click clicks themselves.
Great. And so I know that you had mentioned something about on your paid search around, keeping a consistent domain with your pay-per-click campaigns. Would you do the same with your remarketing and keep your remarketing landing pages on your similar website domain, or how do you recommend your clients to do that?
Landing pages are always very, very important. The domain name, there's two different, well, with remarketing, it's just a click through to a landing page. It's a little bit different than the text ads where you have a display URL. And I know there's a strong strategy around pay-per-click for using the display URL to actually display a little bit more information about what you're offering. With remarketing, you're clicking through to a specific web page. A lot of that can be controlled by, again, by what your marketing goals really are. But always, you should always be having your ads going to specific landing pages that are very relevant to the ad that you're using.
Great. Now you mentioned that you just mentioned that remarketing can be less than pay-per-click. How does video fare into that? Is it also less than pay-per-click, and can you elaborate a little bit more on maybe those comparison of the different type of ad costs per the strategy?
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Well, here's, let me give you a real-world example that I just recently set up for a client of mine. HVAC companies, heating, air conditioning companies, very, very competitive marketplace, especially in pay-per-click, and very successful, by the way. It works very, very well for those people who participate in it. A client of mine was spending quite a bit of money. When we first started years ago, and this client's been a client of mine for quite a number of years, when we first started years ago, some of the keyword phrases were $2, $3 per click. That was expensive at that time. Today, those same clicks are going from between $10 and $20 a click. These are the highest valued keywords in their program. That's a lot of money. They certainly get a great return on investment through all of their campaigns. Those same keywords in Google Google for video advertising, AdWords for video advertising, 58 cents compared to $10 to $20 a click. So we're right now, that's why this is such an important strategy that's underutilized for people to get into right now. You can spread your marketing budget out much, much further and reach a much wider audience with something that everybody's into these days, and that's video. So I highly recommend that you get involved in this, and you can see the difference in pricing and how powerful that is. On remarketing, we're seeing about a 13% less cost per click on remarketing. In some cases, quite a bit less. I also do a remarketing for a kitchen remodeler, and her clicks are dramatically less again, even with remarketing. So we're getting quite a bit more bang for our buck.
So do you normally, like with your clients, do you normally have them do a little bit of each type of paid search strategy, or are there specific scenarios for click over video, or how do you normally manage where a client should be spending their money?
Right. It's really a hard thing to determine. This is something that you really should be working with your WSI Internet consultant with, because each business really is so unique that their needs are so different. It would be hard for me to make a fairly general statement about that. I do tend to run multiple kinds of campaigns. You know, I'm an old-time marketeer, and we believe in having a wide range of marketing strategies out there. You know, it's hard for me to recommend specifically. Really, please talk to your marketing specialist on that, and they'll give you a much better indication. Video right now is so hot; it's a great market to get into, but text ads through Google search, we're all still searching on Google for just about everything that we do these days, so I would never want to give up my presence there. You know, in marketing, you want to, especially for branding, you want to dominate the search results. So I recommend, this is a question I get asked, and I know this isn't the question you asked, Cheryl, but I get asked all the time, well, I'm coming up in, you know, 1 or 2 in organic search, or I'm coming up 1 or 2 in local search. Do I still need to do pay-per-click advertising? And what I say to my clients about this is, think about this. If you dominate that page with a paid ad, local search, and organic search, what you're doing is you're pushing your competitors off the page, and you're also showing them that you are the leader in this particular area. So again, work with your marketing consultants on this. I think it's the best strategy.
Great. Into the video aspect a little bit. I mean, you mentioned obviously that someone doesn't pay for an ad unless they've watched at least 30 seconds or in full. So, I mean, obviously we've all been on YouTube and we see the ad countdown and you can skip in 5 seconds. So does that mean that's something that people wouldn't pay for, but they at least get their ad out there initially?
Yes, absolutely, and that's why the first 5 seconds of that video ad are so very important. You want to brand yourself in that first 5 seconds, actually have a call to action right away in that first 5 seconds. They get to see it. And, you know, some people will watch the first 5 seconds. They'll watch a little bit more than that. So you want to make sure once the video starts, besides that first 5 seconds branding, to get them committed to watching the ad, you want to start telling a story right away that's going to get them excited and curious about what the rest of the ad is.
Great.
But again, you only pay if they see the entire ad, which is fabulous. That means that person was interested in what you had to say, and they've taken the time to watch that ad.
Great. Now, I've seen some ads on YouTube where you can't actually skip and it plays out. Is that a whole different service altogether? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It's some of the legacy advertising that was going on through YouTube itself.
I gotcha. You mentioned quite a few different tools that people can plug into through Google to help create their video ads, to help create marketing ads. Are those all accessible through their Google AdWords like login, or how do they get access to that?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Cheryl. It's all through the Google AdWords back end. Once you get in there and you start putting together your campaigns, they step you through the process. They ask you if you want to use their AdWords gallery, their video tools, or if you want to upload videos in the case of videos. Or in the case of remarketing, it works just the same as display advertising. And the great thing there, of course, in display advertising and remarketing is that you can actually use either a text ad, an image ad, or a video ad in any of those cases. And Google helps you do that. It's very, very flexible.
Great. There's a question from earlier in the presentation when you were talking about the pay-per-click ads and specifically that there's a quality score that kind of gets worked into your pay-per-click ad. What are the sorts of things that people need to consider that play into that score when they're composing their ad?
Right. The most important thing about the quality score, there are a number of things we know about. There are some other issues that Google adds in there, but let me reiterate again. It's very important that the keyword phrase that you're using relates to the ad that you create. Sorry. You want the video ad. Sorry, I just got distracted there. You want to make sure that the keyword phrase relates to the ad itself. But more importantly than that is that the landing page that you direct the visitor to also is relevant to the keyword phrase and the ad that you have. So you've got to really work on your landing pages to make sure that the keyword to ad to landing page are all relevant. That's very, very important. The second thing that is used in that is obviously your bid. How much are you willing to pay for that particular keyword? That's going to go into making up the quality score. And lastly, it's what is your click-through rate? Your ad shows up periodically throughout the day based on searches. If someone clicks on it, that increases your click-through rate, because it's a percentage of click-through rate to impressions. If somebody doesn't click through to your website, then your percentage goes down. You want a high percentage of click-throughs. Obviously, you really want to make sure that they're quality click-throughs, so you've really got to work on that ad and all the other aspects of pay-per-click to make sure that that click-through is really a valuable one, and yet your ad is only showing up when you know that that keyword phrase is going to help you get a click-through.
Great. And I have a question here, because you were mentioning obviously about when you're talking about remarketing and the different display networks and how you can somewhat control a little bit on turning, some certain off. But someone has a question here just around the display network sites. And generally speaking, do you have any examples of some of those sites that Google displays on, or the general categories?
Oh, sure. I mean, think of any one of your favorite news outlets. I read the New York Times, for instance, and the New York Times itself actually displays Google advertising. But I think whenever you're to use an old term, surfing through the internet, you'll come across websites. It'll actually specifically say an advertisement or a Google ad. All of those sites that show that are part of the Google Display Network. I consider the newspaper ads or general interest websites, special interest websites, all doing this. House, for instance, does Google display ads and that sort of thing. There's, like I said, it's innumerable. So many websites use Google advertising that you can't help but run across Google display advertising.
Great. And maybe just to conclude the Q&A for today, any last just thoughts on your end on where people should focus or get started on if they want to tap into any of these avenues?
Well, I'm obviously going to say you should be talking to your WSI consultant, because they have a deeper knowledge than I could do in this general survey that I did right here for you today. But one way or the other, I implore you to get started on this. If marketing is important to you, if advertising is important to you, if expanding your market base is important to you, I just don't see any better way of advertising. I've been in marketing my entire career for 30 years, and this is like the holy grail of marketing, because you really can see the return on investment so clearly, and you have so much control over it, and it occurs so quickly. Just phenomenal kind of advertising. So what I'd leave you with is just get started.
Great. Some good advice and some great information today. So I guess just to conclude, Dennis, if you can just move me ahead through the last couple slides. Just in case you guys weren't aware, WSI does have a book on digital marketing in case you need to plug into a little bit more on the different strategies out there. We have a chapter specifically on pay-per-click as well as display advertising in there if you want to take a read. It is available on Amazon, so always plug in and download yourself a e-version or buy a physical version if you would like. Also, as a thank you for attending this webinar, we do have a special offer that we're providing all of our attendees. And this one's just specifically around, it's called our free social brand report. And this report will provide you with an overview of your name, product, and brand social availability, a comprehensive checklist of the social sites you need to secure and protect, and an immediate starting point to building your brand identity. So, you know, Dennis was talking obviously about video advertising, which leverages YouTube, which is also a social platform. So making sure you have secured those sorts of platforms for your brand name. So, you know, if you're looking to incorporate social media into your overall brand promotion activities, you know, take advantage of this. And if you want more information, don't worry, the consultant that referred you to this webinar will send you more details on how you can take advantage. Now, before we, you know, end the webinar, I basically just want to say a big thanks for everyone for taking time out of your busy schedules for joining us today, and a very huge special thank you for Dennis, for educating us on the latest tactics in online brand promotion. So Dennis, thank you for that.
Thank you.
We've got a lot of different resources out there that you can plug into if you want to learn more about brand promotion activities that are out there that you can use. So, you know, reach out to your WSI consultant. They probably have them on their website, or you can visit our WSIworld.com website to see what those are. But last and not least, I mean, like Dennis said, if you have any questions on anything that was discussed, or really need to talk about your individual brand strategy specifically, be sure to reach out to the WSI consultant who referred you to this webinar. I mean, they're really your guides in understanding your business and how you can tap into these different tactics. So thank you all for attending. I look forward to seeing you all back again for our next Digital Power Hour series webinar, which is on Tuesday, June 23rd at the same time, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard, when we'll be talking about how you can expand your ROI, sales, and conversions. So until next time, on behalf of WSI, I wish you all a wonderful day.